God says, I have spoken to you in whispers for a long time. I spoke through gentle feelings you tried to ignore, through quiet nudges you called coincidence, through patience that waited while you hesitated. I spoke softly because you were fragile, because you were healing, because you needed kindness before you needed courage. But now the season has changed. The softness was not weakness, and the silence was not absence. It was preparation. And now the time has come, God says, you have reached a moment where comfort can no longer carry you forward. You have outgrown the small prayers, the safe dreams, the excuses dressed as caution. I did not create you to survive quietly. I did not breathe life into you so you could shrink yourself to fit fear. There is a fire placed inside you, and it was never meant to stay hidden. This is the hour to rise, not gently, not slowly, but with intention and strength. God says, stop waiting for permission from a world that benefits from your doubt. Stop asking signs from people who cannot see what I have planted in you. I have already given you what you need. The delay was not because you were unready, but because you were still learning to trust your own becoming. Now you stand at the edge of what you prayed for, and fear is the final test. God says, I know the nights you cried in silence. I know the questions you asked when nothing made sense. I know how many times you felt unseen, unheard, forgotten. But understand this clearly, nothing you endured was wasted. Every tear trained your heart. Every disappointment sharpened your vision. Every closed door redirected you to something greater than what you were asking for at the time. God says, I am no longer whispering because you are no longer a child in spirit. You are strong enough now to carry truth without breaking. You are ready to hear what once would have overwhelmed you. The calling on your life is bigger than comfort, bigger than approval, bigger than fear. And if I stayed quiet now, you would mistake peace for stagnation. God says, this is your moment to act. Not tomorrow. Not when things feel perfect. Not when everyone agrees. Now. Faith is not proven by waiting endlessly, it is proven by moving while your hands still shake. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is obedience in the presence of fear. God says, I am calling you to step out of cycles that kept you small. Cycles of self-doubt. Cycles of procrastination. Cycles of hoping someone else will save you. I have already placed the strength within you. You are not behind. You are not late. You are right on time for the version of you that must emerge. God says, do not mistake resistance for failure. Resistance appears when growth is near. Pressure increases when transformation is close. The enemy of your purpose does not attack what has no value. The very fact that you feel stretched, challenged, uncomfortable is proof that something powerful is being formed. God says, I am asking you to let go. Let go of who you were so you can become who you are meant to be. Let go of the story that says you are not enough. Let go of the habit of settling for less than what aligns with your soul. You cannot carry new destiny with old limitations. God says, you have been praying for clarity, but clarity follows movement. You have been praying for confidence, but confidence is built through action. You have been praying for change, but change requires decision. I will meet you in motion. Take the step, and the path will reveal itself. God says, remember who you are. You are not an accident. You are not a mistake. You are not overlooked. You were chosen for this time, this challenge, this assignment. There is something only you can do, in the way only you can do it. And the world is waiting, even if it doesn't know it yet. God says, stop dimming your light to make others comfortable. Light was never meant to ask permission. Shine. Speak. Build. Create. Lead. Heal. The ones meant to walk with you will rise with you. The ones who leave were only meant to watch the beginning, not the fulfillment. God says, I have heard every prayer you whispered and every prayer you were too tired to speak. I have seen the effort no one applauded. I have counted the steps you took when quitting would have been easier. You were never walking alone, even when it felt like it. God says, the waiting season is ending. The preparation is complete. The door you thought was locked is opening because you are finally ready to walk through it. Not as the person you used to be, but as the person you have become through endurance. God says, this next chapter will require discipline. It will require consistency. It will require you to show up even when motivation fades. But understand this, discipline is the language of destiny. What you commit to daily will shape what you become permanently. God says, do not fear the responsibility that comes with growth. You asked for more, and more requires maturity. You asked for impact. And impact requires sacrifice. You asked for purpose, and purpose demands courage. I will not give you what you are not ready to steward. God says, trust me when things move faster than you expected. Trust me when doors open suddenly. Trust me when people appear and disappear without explanation. I am rearranging things beyond your understanding, aligning pieces you cannot yet see. God says, your voice matters. Your story matters. Your obedience matters. Someone's breakthrough is connected to your bravery. Someone's healing is connected to your honesty. Someone's hope is connected to your persistence. Do not underestimate the ripple effect of your faith. God says, there will be moments when you feel tired again. Rest, but do not retreat. Pause, but do not quit. I am not asking you to run endlessly, I am asking you to remain faithful. Even slow steps forward still move you closer to the promise. God says, I am not disappointed in you. I am proud of how far you have come. Look back and see what you survived. Look back and recognize the strength you didn't know you had. That same strength will carry you into what comes next. God says, speak life over yourself. Stop repeating the words that limit you. Your words shape your reality more than you realize. Say what aligns with truth, not with fear. Say what builds, not what breaks. Say what moves you forward. God says, you are entering a season where excuses will cost you opportunities. Comfort will cost you growth. Silence will cost you impact. Choose wisely. Choose courage. Choose alignment. Choose to trust me even when the outcome is unclear. God says, I am with you in the uncertainty. I am with you in the risk. I am with you in the work. You are not doing this alone. My strength fills the gaps where yours runs out. My wisdom will guide you when choices feel heavy. God says, do not compare your journey to others. Their timing is not your timing. Their calling is not your calling. Stay focused on what I have placed before you. Comparison distracts. Alignment empowers. God says, this is not the time to look back longing for what was familiar. Familiar does not mean faithful. Comfortable does not mean correct. You were created to move forward, not to relive what you have already outgrown. God says, I am calling you higher, and higher requires letting go of what pulls you down. Old habits. Old fears. Old identities. Release them. You cannot climb while holding weight that no longer serves you. God says, there is joy ahead, not just success. There is peace ahead, not just progress. There is fulfillment ahead, not just achievement. Trust that what I am building in you is deeper than what the world can offer you. God says, stand up in your truth. Walk boldly in your purpose. Act on what you already know. You do not need to hear me louder, you need to move faithfully. The time of gentle nudges has passed. This is the call to rise. God says, now go. Not because you are fearless, but because you are faithful. Not because everything is certain, but because I am. The time has come, God says, do not hesitate now. Hesitation is the echo of an old version of you trying to stay alive. You are not who you were when fear ruled your choices. You are not who you were when doubt decided your direction. That chapter taught you lessons, but it no longer gets to write your future. God says, I am asking you to move even when your voice trembles. Speak even when your words feel imperfect. Begin even when the plan feels unfinished. Perfection was never the requirement, obedience was. Growth happens in motion, not in waiting for ideal conditions. God says, you have been standing at the threshold longer than necessary because you keep looking back to see who will follow. Stop looking back. Everyone is not meant to go with you. Some were assigned to your past, not your destiny. Their absence is not rejection, it is protection. God says, I know you fear failing publicly. I know you fear being misunderstood. But hear me clearly, obedience is more important than opinion. The approval of people fades, but alignment with purpose sustains you when applause disappears. God says, there will be days when the weight feels heavy again. On those days, remember why you started. Remember the pain that pushed you to pray. Remember the hunger that kept you going when comfort tried to seduce you into quitting. You did not come this far to turn back now. God says, you are not late stepping into your calling. Timing is not measured by clocks but by readiness of the heart. Everything you learned, every delay you hated, every detour you questioned was shaping your capacity. You are ready now in ways you were not before. God says, stop negotiating with fear. Fear will never agree to let you grow. Fear will always demand more time, more proof, more reassurance. Faith does not negotiate, it moves. Choose faith, even if your knees shake while you stand. God says, I am strengthening your discernment. You will no longer be easily distracted by noise or flattery. You will recognize what aligns and what drains. Protect your energy. Protect your focus. Not every opportunity is an assignment. God says, you are allowed to outgrow places, people, and patterns. Growth does not require an apology. Leaving does not mean you failed, it means you listened. Trust the unease you feel when something no longer fits. It is guidance, not guilt. God says, the next season will stretch you, but it will also reveal you. You will see courage rise where fear once lived. You will see discipline replace confusion. You will see confidence form not from pride, but from consistency. God says, do not rush the process, but do not resist it either. What is unfolding is meant to be built layer by layer. Depth takes time. Strength takes repetition. Mastery takes patience. Stay committed to the work even when the results are quiet. God says, you will begin to notice doors opening that once felt impossible. When they do, walk through without shrinking. Do not talk yourself out of what I have already qualified you for. If the door opened, it means you belong there. God says, there will be moments when you miss the simplicity of before. But you cannot carry purpose and remain unchanged. Responsibility is the cost of impact. You asked to matter, now learn to manage what comes with it. God says, speak with authority over your life. Stop agreeing with thoughts that weaken you. You have power in your words. Declare truth even when emotions argue. What you consistently declare, you eventually believe. What you believe, you become. God says, I am teaching you to trust me without needing explanations. Some answers will only make sense after obedience. Some clarity comes after commitment. Walk forward, and understanding will follow. God says, This is a season of alignment, not approval. Stay close to what keeps you grounded. Stay close to what feeds your spirit. Distractions will increase because your focus matters now more than ever, God says. You are becoming an example without realizing it. People are watching how you rise, how you endure, how you stay honest when it would be easier to hide. Your life is speaking louder than your words ever could, God says. Do not abandon the quiet disciplines that carried you through the storm. Prayer, reflection, discipline, gratitude, these are not habits of survival, they are foundations of longevity. Keep them strong, God says. When doubt whispers that you are alone, remember this truth: I have gone ahead of you. What feels unknown to you is already familiar to me. Walk with confidence, knowing nothing ahead is unprepared for, God says. This next chapter will not look like what you imagined, but it will feel right in your spirit. Trust that feeling. Peace is not always calm, sometimes it is clarity in the middle of challenge. God says, keep going. Keep building. Keep believing. Not because the road is easy, but because the calling is real. You are not waiting anymore. You are walking now. And I am with you every step of the way, God says. This is where endurance becomes evidence. Not the loud kind, not the kind that demands recognition, but the quiet, unshakable decision to keep showing up. Many start with passion. Few finish with faithfulness. You are learning how to finish, God says. You will not always feel inspired, but you must remain intentional. Feelings rise and fall, but purpose is anchored deeper than emotion. On days when the fire feels low, let discipline carry what passion cannot. This is how legacies are built, God says. Stop measuring your progress by visible results alone. Some of the most important work is happening beneath the surface, reshaping your character, refining your motives, strengthening your integrity. What grows roots first will stand longer when storms come, God says. I am teaching you how to stand alone without feeling lonely. Independence of spirit does not mean isolation, it means you are no longer controlled by the need to be understood by everyone. When you know who you are, misunderstanding loses its power, God says. There will be moments when you question if it is worth it. In those moments, remember the version of you who prayed for this strength, this clarity, this opportunity. You are living answers you once begged for during darker nights, God says. Do not fear the stillness that follows big decisions. Stillness is not emptiness, it is alignment settling into place. Let it ground you. Let it confirm that you moved in truth, not impulse. God says, I am sharpening your voice, not to shout, but to speak with weight. Your words will carry depth because they come from lived experience, not borrowed confidence. Speak when led. Silence when needed. Both are powerful, God says. You will no longer chase what drains you. You will no longer prove what does not need defending. You will no longer explain your growth to those committed to misunderstanding it. This is maturity, not coldness. God says, watch how your priorities change. What once excited you may no longer satisfy you. What once scared you may no longer move you. This is not loss, it is evolution. You are becoming more aligned, not less alive. God says, I am building consistency into you because consistency outlives talent. Many are gifted, but few are reliable. Be reliable with your time, your word, your effort, your values. Reliability is trust made visible. God says, when success comes, remain humble. When challenges return, remain grounded. Do not let either redefine you. Identity rooted in circumstance will always be unstable. Stay rooted in truth. God says, you are allowed to enjoy what you build. Joy is not a distraction from purpose, it is fuel for it. Rest without guilt. Celebrate without fear. Gratitude keeps your heart soft while your resolve stays strong. God says, there will be people who benefit from your growth but never acknowledge it. Release the need for recognition. Impact does not require applause to be real. What matters is that lives are changed, including your own. God says, guard your inner life carefully. What you allow into your thoughts will eventually shape your direction. Choose truth over noise. Choose depth over distraction. Choose growth over comfort. God says, this journey will not make you perfect, but it will make you honest. Honest with yourself. Honest with me. Honest about your limits and your strengths. Honesty is where real transformation lives. God says, when you fall, and you may, do not stay down out of shame. Get up quickly. Learn. Adjust. Keep moving. Grace is not permission to quit, it is power to continue. God says, I am not rushing you, but I am guiding you. Stay attentive. Stay responsive. The more you listen through action, the clearer the direction becomes. God says, one day you will look back and realize the struggle was not meant to break you or delay you, it was meant to introduce you to yourself. To show you what you could carry, what you could endure. Who you could become. God says, walk forward with steadiness now. Not hurried. Not hesitant. Grounded. Certain. You do not need to announce your arrival. Your life will speak for you. God says, this is not the end of the journey. It is the beginning of walking in what you once only hoped for. Stay faithful. Stay courageous. Stay aligned. God says, I am with you, not just at the start, not just at the finish, but in every ordinary step in between. And that is enough. God says, go on. You are ready.